everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another DeAgostini Models building video of the Lotus Renault 97T F1 car. Now if you remember last episode, we left off having just finished the front suspension, the lower suspension system, and we had the two brake lines. And I will tell you, I went in after the fact as well as what's in the cockpit for the steering mechanism. I removed all the lines, put a little dab of super glue, and then replaced them on the pins, because once this is installed in the car, I don't think we're ever going to be able to get back in if they ever pop off the pins. So I've remedied that by adding just a dab of glue on each connection point. So we're going to use this unit and continue with it. We're not going to touch the car, but we're just going to continue working on the front suspension piece. All right, so without any further ado, let's start building. Okay, stage 11, like I mentioned earlier, pretty much picks right up where we left off back on stage 10 when we were completing the lower front suspension system. We're going to be adding a lot more little fiddly pieces to include the, I believe, the shock absorber and springs as well. So I'm going to bring that part in, the main unit here. And again, we're going to start attaching all of these pieces onto this system here. So let me pull out the pieces we need and we'll get started. Okay, to start out with, we're going to be working on the left hand side, which is actually this side facing forward. And remember, everything's upside down as well, so if the car's coming at you, this would be the left side. So we're going to take the suspension arm as well as this little lower arm bracket, and we're going to mate the two with that center hole pretty much down the middle. And then I'm going to take a GM screw, see if I can find the hole that it's supposed to thread into. I think getting aligned is the hardest part here. Not as easy as it would look, because it's a very tight fit, which is good because you don't want it too sloppy. But we definitely want to get it far enough over to engage. Let's see if that works. No, not quite yet. Let me get off camera and see if I can find an awl or something to try to line those up. Okay, I got it aligned. It just took a lot of finesse and finagling, but we finally got it. So this should at least get started here. No, it must have. There we go. It's going in. It's just being difficult. I actually ended up using a toothpick to align the holes, but there it goes. Now it's coming out the back side. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the screw has made its way through, and now we've got working suspension. Okay, so after we got through that little ordeal, we're going to take our lower suspension piece here and attach. You'll see there's two little posts right here. They're going to line up in these holes right here, and thread in from the bottom side. Thank goodness these are magnetic screwdrivers. Let me get one started here, because there's one different, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. Okay, let me tighten this one up. Okay, now before we insert the screw into the further most out one, we want to take this spring mount and insert it into that hole, and you'll notice there's a little cotter pin notch right there that has to fit into a notch right there in that hole. So we're going to twist that till it falls into place, which it does right there. Probably should have loaded my screw beforehand. And thread it through the bottom. And cinch it down. Okay, that takes care of the left side. Now we're going to duplicate that on the right hand side. Okay, now that we actually know what we're doing, I got this one already more or less centered ahead of time, so we can get this going as our hinge pin. Yeah, see how much easier that one was? Okay. Okay, we'll lock that one down. I may have to go in and loosen these up later to get a little bit more easier travel. Well, they're pretty smooth as is, but depending, we may have to loosen those up down the road. But at least that'll hold for now. Okay, we're going to set them into position right there. And again, we're going to take our BM screws and come at it from underneath. So let me go ahead and get the other one started before we cinch that down too tight. Okay. And the front one. Okay. Now again, we're going to take our post here and align it so that notch matches in the notch in the mount, in the arm there. So we're going to rotate it there. It actually snaps into position. Take our final BM screw. Invert the system and get that threaded in. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we are making serious progress on this. Okay, now we're going to mount our damper and springs onto the post that we just previously installed. So, and these are just pressure fit. So I'm going to take one spring here, set it over the post, and this unit has a little D-shaped pin that fits into the D shape on the top of the post, and we're just going to pressure fit that into position like so. And the other pin or spring and its damper post goes right there like that. Okay, so that wraps up stage number 11. Okay, moving on, in stage 12, you can see we've got more of the front lower suspension parts that we're going to add on to our main unit here. So we'll go ahead and get all these parts out. And boy, there's a lot of little pieces here. So a lot of tedious work ahead, I see. But we'll go ahead and get these. Let me get this little blister pack open. Try not to send these flying all over the room. There we go. And it looks like two different sets of screws, the DP and the JP screws. So everything's going to be plastic. That'll at least give us some heads up on that. And yeah, so let me go ahead and clear the board. I will tell you, I played with this after I finished with stage 11, but notice how loose those springs are. These damper dampers on top don't quite go down all the way to reach the springs. So both sides, the springs are kind of loose. I really thought there'd be some, I don't know, maybe there's something in the future gonna get clamped in there, but for now, I'm not quite sure what's going on with these springs, so we'll just have to play that by ear. But at least we're aware of it, and we'll see how it plays out. Okay, I'm going to combine a few steps in this particular segment just to kind of expedite, because there's not a whole lot to do in each step. The first thing we need to do is take this piece right here. I'm not quite sure exactly what it's called. Let's see. Does it say? It is the front rocker arm. So I'm going to take the front rocker arm and take these two pins you see on the bottom of it and insert them into the two holes there just ahead of the lower suspension arms. And it fits nicely into place. And I'm thinking about putting some glue in there, but I think it's going to get clamped down with some screws, so I don't think we need to do that. Then we need to take this anti-sway bar here. See if you can hold it here where you can see it, and attach this end, and it's a pressure fit with a little pin and socket right there. Okay. Now this piece is going to go just ahead of what we just installed. So see if I can fit those into the holes, and then I'm going to take two of the JP screws and mount them from the bottom. Okay. So this is why I think everything's going to sort of hold itself together without glue. Okay, don't want to strip it, so I'll just cinch it down barely tight. Okay. I do notice the one that we installed on the side is a little loose, but again, I'm sure there's a purpose and it's all going to work out in the end, but that's definitely loose, whereas that is a solid piece. Okay, now we're going to take our longer damper, and this one's going to go on the other side of the springs. Hopefully it'll snap or pop into place. Okay, one side goes in or the other side goes in, but I'm thinking if we get them to go in at the same time, they'll be even. So let me raise this back up. Well, not the most cooperative piece here. All right, let me figure out these holes here. Okay, I definitely made that harder than it needed to be. It just, I think 2 seconds after I hit stop on the recorder, they popped into place. So they're nice and secure. It is tight. I don't think it's going to come out. But yeah, those fit right into place. The next thing we need to do is install our pedals. And if you remember, we got to think the direction here. So we're facing forward now. So on the right, we're going to have the gas. In the middle, we're going to have the brake. And on the left, we're going to have the clutch. So let me get our 3 pedals out and ready. Start with our gas. It's the widest one of the bunch, and it's got like a little foot catch on the side so your foot doesn't slip off. So it's going to slip right into that slot right there, and we'll attach it with a DP screw from underneath. Let me see if I can get it started here. There we go. Next one is the brake. And the brake and the clutch pedals both have a grid pattern on there. You can see that, so that keeps the foot from slipping off. So just keep in mind that's going to be the side facing the driver. Okay, so we'll get the brake inserted there. And cinch that down. And then our clutch. Same thing. The groove pattern faces the driver, or in some F1 circles they say the pilot. Okay, so that wraps up stage 12. Now I will tell you there was one piece left in the box here, this little white adapter of sorts. That was not called for in the instructions anywhere. So I'm just going to hold on to this. Down the road eventually I'm sure they'll call for it. I will go back through the instructions to make sure we didn't miss it, but I sure didn't see where this is installed. So we'll set that into a safe spot for now. And yeah, we are making progress. Thanks for watching. Let's do a final closeout. Okay, quick update before we move on to the closeout. I did find in the manual where this part goes. This is the, what do they call it? The brake bias adjuster. And it needs to slip onto the side of our brake pedal. Let me get the orientation right here. And we'll do this prior to it screwing down into the cockpit. So let's see, that main post needs to face upward. Like that. Okay, so that's where that piece goes right there. Now we'll reinsert the brake pedal into the floorboard. And hold it in place with our JP screw. I'm sorry, this is the DP screw. There we go. Okay, and we've got our brake adjuster. That is a little loose. I'm thinking I'm going to go in and just add a dab of super glue on that pin to keep it in position. But other than that, that does finally wrap things up. So let me do the gluing and then we'll do our closeout. Okay, that wraps up stages 11 and 12 on the F1 car kit. And I will admit I'm a little embarrassed that I missed it, but I will say the white brake bias adjuster, which is right there, was actually painted or drawn and illustrated kind of a white ghosty color on the manual, so I didn't see it. It wasn't very apparent. So I'll use that as my excuse, but we did find it and we made good on that. So, and I did add a little drop of glue to it, so it's going to hold its position well. So we are really making progress on this front suspension. Again, still curious why the springs are as loose as they are. See how loose is that? It just came off. I really don't want to glue that damper top in, but it just doesn't go down any further. So I'm not sure what we're going to do about that. But hopefully in steps to come in further stages we'll learn more about that. So for now, this wraps up stages 11 and 12. Thanks everybody for watching. God bless, and we will see you in the next one.